Now, for the first time in a while, actually closer to 2013 numbers, Disney is investing in the parks less and less. And we look at the numbers and we say to ourselves, is that really going to make an impact for us here in the park? Now, when it's this crowded in the parks, you may be saying to yourself, maybe we don't need much more added. During an investor call, Disney said they're going to invest $2.27 billion with a B into the parks here at Walt Disney World and all around the planet. Now, if we look at other years of investments in the parks, we can see 2020 at $2.9 billion, 2019 $4.14 billion, 2018 $3.88 billion, 2017 $3.1, 2016 $4.2, 2015 $3.6, 2013 2.1. It makes us think, okay, so they're reducing down the amount that they can invest in the parks, but isn't that kind of typical for a company that's kind of recovering from all the closures that we recently went through? The answer is yes, of course. During this time of recovery, Disney has had to kind of shrink investments in the parks. But we've seen across the parks kind of a change in Disney's style towards acquisitions, right? We're thinking about the actual acquisitions of things and also money making. The price of everything from shirts to hats to pins, everything has increased here at Walt Disney World, probably due to multiple factors, but Disney's also increased those prices because, of course, they are recovering as well. But we're going beyond that today. We're thinking about that investor call again and the amount that Disney is investing in the parks. Does it mean that we're going to see less in the parks in the coming years? Probably not. It just means that we're going to see things moving slower than we originally expected. But there was a unique announcement in this big, announcement that we heard that I think gave a lot of us something to think about. During the investor call, Disney said that some investment, they didn't say how much or percentages, nothing like that, but some investment would be focused on Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. Now, for many of us, Star Wars Galaxy's Edge is done. It's finished. Yay, we have it. We love it. We're here all the time. I love it. But they mentioned further investment. Does that mean that we're going to get another ride? As we first heard about very, very early on in the rumors of Star Wars Galaxy's Edge? I don't know, but sure sounds like it. Even though we know that Disney's going to be spending less in the parks than they have in the past, it doesn't take away from Disney planning for the future. At Star Wars Galaxy's Edge at Walt Disney World, there were several things that were originally thought of, but never really came to life when Star Wars Galaxy's Edge originally opened to the public. The Kalikori Club was originally supposed to be coming to Star Wars Galaxy's Edge when it opened to the public, but it was either tabled or scrapped, we don't know for sure, and for now, we still don't know for sure, but rumors of it are starting to resurface because Disney mentioned that there's a Phase 2 coming to Star Wars Galaxy's Edge at this investor call. You can see from some of the concept art that the Kalikori Club would actually take you back into Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. The story behind it, I imagine, would be you're basically inside the Cantina Plus. You're experiencing a table service restaurant at an incredible place in Batuu. There's even a holographic projection in the middle. Don't know what that is, but it looks super unique. And then there's a droid off to the side. Who knows what they serve, but I would imagine it would be themed perfectly to Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. One thing that's really interesting to me is we've only seen one concept image of the Kalikori Club, this one, which is good. It looks great. My question is there more to it? Is there a second or third room like we see with Be Our Guest or other restaurants? I would imagine, like all things at Walt Disney World right now, things are going to be extremely crowded, and getting a reservation at some spots like Space 220, despite the price, are incredibly difficult because of the amount of people who want to see it. So my question is it going to be a much larger restaurant than we originally are seeing in this concept art or not? Given the location of land that's located behind Oga's Cantina, they have the potential to make it a little bit larger, but not as large as something like Be Our Guest. So I think it's still going to require those reservations months in advance. That being said, I want to be very clear, there is no confirmation of whatsoever whether or not Kalikori Club is coming back. What we know, we really don't know anything about it. We're making some guesses as to what Disney's thinking about when they confirmed via the investor call that something is coming new to Star Wars Galaxy's Edge in the future. Star Wars Galaxy's Edge was actually originally supposed to come with another attraction, a Bantha ride attraction, where you kind of sit on the back of this Bantha creature and it walks you all around the land, around the perimeter of the land. It sounds cool in theory, but it never came to life. Could Disney be thinking about bringing something like this to life? For all we know, this project was postponed intentionally as Disney wanted to complete a Phase 2 of Star Wars Galaxy's Edge anyway. We don't know for sure, but one thing we do know is that it was planned. It was a Bantha attraction, it was supposed to be great. We have never seen it, and maybe we will one day. Those are the two that I think are the most likely if we're looking at an expansion to Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, the Bantha attraction and the Caligari Club table service restaurant. But there are other rumors. Bounty Hunter attraction, speeder bike attraction. I have no idea whether or not these are even close. We haven't really seen any concept art for this, but it's tough to know for sure if Disney was ever planning these in the first place. Disney's very good at keeping these things a secret. They really are. The only kind of hints we get are investor calls like this and other things that happen where they give us just enough to make these speculations. Needless to say, 2022 and 23, and especially D23 coming up, it's going to be filled with some very exciting announcements. Now, as we look elsewhere around Walt Disney World, Epcot's construction has been underway for some time. We've seen those walls and just a large dirt patch in the middle of where Future World used to be. And we're all wondering, when is it going to be completed? Well, I've got news for you. The 40th anniversary of Epcot is right around the corner, October 2022. And if Disney is hoping to complete these projects, including Guardians of the Galaxy, Cosmic Rewind, they're going to have to speed up construction. With less than a year away to celebrate the 40th anniversary, I do not think Disney's going to want to have those walls up, and I don't think they plan to. I think they're going to open all the things at Epcot by October 2022. That's my prediction. You think about Cosmic Rewind, the Play Pavilion, formerly Wonders of Life, and that central area of what used to be Future World, which will be the Moana Journey with Water. It's going to be spectacular, but if you think about the investment, right, you think about the amount of money, it doesn't make any sense. It does in many ways because there's not as much to do as originally, slated at Epcot, right? They finished Space 220, they've got a little bit more to do inside of the Play Pavilion, we think. Guardians of the Galaxy, Cosmic Rewind, sounds good. We think it's mostly kind of there. The internals are getting there. We're getting closer every day, but they definitely need to ramp it up, especially right in the center with the Moana experience, in order to have it open by next October. We got no other confirmations about that at Epcot. However, I wouldn't be surprised if we heard more very soon. Let's not forget about the Tron Light Cycle attraction, which is the longest running construction project at Walt Disney World at the time of filming. The Tron Light Cycle Power Run has been under construction for years, and many of us thought it would be so much simpler for them to put it together simply because they're copying and pasting it from Tokyo Disneyland Disney Sea. You'd think that it would be easier. Apparently it's not, and they had some construction issues, again money issues to work through, but it is slowly making its way. I would hope that at least part of the $2.27 billion is making its way to finish up Tron and bring back the Main Street train. That would be fantastic. That in and of itself is extremely exciting because yes, maybe it's not quite as much as they were investing 4 or 5 years ago in the parks, but it doesn't mean that investments in the parks is over, not even close. We're talking about a B with $1 billion, two of them, $0.27 billion, invested in the parks this coming year alone, and apparently more in 2022. It doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to get new attractions in an area like this, like Toy Story area. However, it does mean that we'll probably see some enhancements to other areas around Walt Disney World. So what does this number mean? It's just a number, 2.27. It doesn't mean anything. It's what Disney does with it. And I think what we're going to see are enhancements to things that we already have. More than new, always the new. It's not always going to be the new. It's sometimes just going to be about the enhancement that make it great. Classics like Toy Story Midway Mania likely aren't going to have any change at all. And when we think about impacts at Walt Disney World, things like this, things mainstay, staples, likely aren't going to make any changes whatsoever. Not even small ones. I think that they're probably going to stay the same for at least many years. The reason for this is that Disney really doesn't have any pressing need to make drastic changes to rides that, to be honest, work. Games like Toy Story Midway Mania just are so good because you have the opportunity to improve and improve. So there's nothing really to change here. 369,500. That's pretty fantastic. I'm very happy with that, and I think that may have done something that I haven't done in a long time. Yes, indeed. Best today, 369,500. Oh my gosh, what a great feeling. Woo! Other changes that I would expect, even though we have a reduced budget for theme park changes in the future, are more improvements to projections. Projections, at least in my imagination, are not as difficult to change and not as expensive to change as something like a full ride or a major renovation or a new resort. That's just projections, just different digital images that they have to make on the different areas around Walt Disney World. That I think we can expect to see enhanced. The biggest difference that I think we're going to see is to the time frames of all the projects that are currently underway. Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind, Tron, updates to Epcot, those kind of things are likely going to be pushed back. You know, the timeline of it is likely just going to be moved because we've been expecting these things for some time, and some projects at Disney, which definitely take precedence in Disney's mind, like overpasses for Magic Kingdom parking and other structures that have come together like that. I mean, so fast. It's different. They prioritize it in a different way. So we can expect that some things will just take a little bit more time. Although Disney's still in a bit of a recovery mode, Walt Disney World has seen an increase in guest spending by over 30%, probably due to Genie Plus, Lightning Lane, and increases throughout Walt Disney World, including in merchandise and food. Like other times in the company's past, there will be changes that happen that sometimes make sense in the moment, sometimes don't, sometimes we see a long-term effect that we didn't expect, sometimes we totally expected things to happen, NBA experience, and they happen. So you never know what the future holds. Needless to say, a lot of magical things at Disney, no question about it. It's just a matter of timing. When do we want these things? We want them now, of course, but sometimes, you know, companies, budgets, works a little bit differently. Doesn't take away the magic, just means that we can appreciate all that we have so much more. Thanks so much for sharing in the magic with me today. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think that this is going to have a major impact across the parks, or do you think it'll just kind of slow down some of those timelines? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, have a magical day.